Hello and welcome to another edition of Addition. I'm your host, Addy Snowden, product manager at Google and quantum life coach, helping you get happier, healthier, and wealthier by jumping into the reality of your dreams. You can book with me at calendly.com/additionpod. The QR code on the stream and the show notes in the podcast have a link to my website where you can learn more about me. And before I get into today's episode, go ahead and like and share this video, follow and subscribe if you're not already, because this is going to be an amazing episode today. So today we are kicking off the Black Woman Boss series with our special guest, Ninti. Do you want me to say your last name, Ninti? All right, Ninti Chance. We're so excited to have Ninti Chance, aka Ninti.wav on socials. And we are going to hear her inspiring success story. So let's get into the episode. So how are you doing, Ninti?
Hi. There is some music, like background music playing. Do you mind shutting the music off?
Shutting the music off. Where you can what kind of music is it?
Oh, you can't hear music?
I
It
can't
sounds
hear any
like
music.
mass, like I'm going to mass, like, like Catholic church.
Oh, was it like the do 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 do?
Yes.
Okay, that will eventually turn off. Um is it impacting your ability to hear me?
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. If it's gonna eventually turn off, that's fine. And
It's
also
going to eventually turn off.
I joined the live on TikTok if you can invite me. Or
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and invite you now. Yay. Wait, are you on live? Like, so you have to create a live, and then once you are on live, I can bring you in as a co-host.
no, really? Oh, okay, I see.
Or I
I
can add you as a guest, but it's up to you. I can add you as a guest.
no,
Let's
I can go on live. I'll do that.
Okay, all right, perfect. All right. So
Okay. For the logistics, everyone.
okay, co-host with creators. Let me find you, Ninti. Okay, she's saying it's saying keep saying not on live.
I'm not on live. Give me one moment. I'm
Okay,
joining.
take your time. Take your time. While we are waiting, go ahead and pop any questions for Ninti in the chat. We're going to be talking about success stories, overcoming obstacles, all of that. Ninti is a software engineer at Google as well as a digital artist. So feel free to go ahead and enter questions you have for our guests in the chat. All right. So all right. Okay. All right. Yes, I see you now.
Awesome.
Yay,
Hello.
we did it! Oh my God. Okay, so we are live on all platforms in addition to TikTok. All right. So, Ninti, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ninti. I am a software engineer at Google, and I am also a content creator. I really love to do cosplay content, and I also love portraits, like drawing, digital paintings, and also oil paintings of people. And that is a quick introduction for me.
Amazing. So glad to have you on. I just got word that if you were hearing that music, all you have to do is switch into the welcome tab on the left hand panel of Restream, and then you will no longer hear that music.
Okay, awesome. I wonder, does my microphone need to be muted on TikTok?
So I turned my audio or my volume completely down on TikTok. I leave my just phone microphone on so people can hear me.
Okay, they're gonna hear me and they're gonna hear you, I think is what's gonna happen.
What they should be hearing, well, that's fine. Like TikTok doesn't matter. We love you,
Okay.
TikTok. But we'll figure it out because I have this is going to be recorded and we can always upload the recording on TikTok. We love you, TikTok. This is TikTok's problem. Okay. All right. So do you mind reintroducing yourself now that we have gotten this all together?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining on this podcast today. My name is Ninti. I am a software engineer at Google currently, and I also love to create content, cosplay content to be exact. I like to paint, digital painting as well as oil painting, And I've been taking some acting classes and ballet currently. So those are just some quick things about me. Thank you so much for being here today.
Amazing. That is so cool. So something I initially connected with you on is like I was a math and art major, so it's not common to find like engineers who are also creatives and artists. So can you tell me more about like how you were able to both explore the technical engineering as well as your creative and artistry?
Yeah, I actually studied theater in college. So my degree is in art. I am more so interested in art than anything else. And I am, I guess, um, my path to coming into computer science is very non-traditional. I took a 3 month coding boot camp to get here, and um, and that's how I ended up being in computer science. It was just like purely like a drive. I, if I'm gonna be real, I remember that year I made like $8,000 on my taxes. I was not making enough money to survive. And this is the first year I ever like moved out of my mom's house. I was 23 at the time, and my car needed to be fixed, and it would cost $1,000 to fix my car. So I just came to the conclusion that if I wanted to not be poor the rest of my life, I had to do something about it. And I literally said to myself, like, if I'm poor for the rest of my life, I would kill myself. Sorry, everyone. I know that's like, sensitive subject, but I just knew I wouldn't be able to survive. And so I switched to coding just because I was like, this is probably a great way to make sure that I am able to survive. And honestly, I went from making $8,000 to making $80,000, and like it increased tenfold, which was in ridiculous. And not only that, but like I actually like to code. Like it's really fun. Coding is really cool. It's really fun. Um and so that's what kind of led me into the path of coding. It's just a need to survive.
I that is such an amazing story. I never assume when I encounter Google engineers that they're people who went to boot camp, and so that is like a triumph in itself. So my next question was asking about your career journey to your current role as software engineer at Google. So it sounds like you're doing something before, then you didn't want to be poor anymore, which is this is a safe space. Like people who listen to Edition like money and want money. And then you took your boot camp and then you got into your engineering career. Can you talk a little bit more about what you were doing for a living before boot camp?
Sure. So after I got out of college, I was like really lost. I just didn't know what to do. And I was kind of just staying at my brother's house and doing nothing for the longest, until I read this book called The Hidden Messages in Water. And that book really inspired me because it just said how like powerful water is, how water can really carry a message. And, if a group of people pray over water, then their prayer is more likely to be answered. I'm not a religious person, but I do have like some spiritual connection. So like I do believe that water is powerful. And so that kind of like moved me, and I moved to Atlanta to really pursue my, you know, my want to be an actress. And during that time I realized like I couldn't just work a regular job if I wanted to audition and those sorts of things. So I was um I was working as a brand ambassador, which is people who kind of do like experiential marketing. If you've ever been to a football game, it might be like people passing out Coke bottles for free, or people passing out T-shirts like AT&T sunglasses or something like that, or
Yeah.
the people who do like all of the the cool like virtual reality like fun things and stuff. It was a really fun job, but it wasn't like a very consistent source of income. So
Yes.
I did that for a very long time, and also I wasn't challenged academically. I've always loved studying. Like studying has always been one of my favorite things to do, and I love doing homework like for some reason. And so I got really bored with being a brand ambassador because it wasn't challenging me intellectually. And the way I actually got into coding, like I know you asked me like you asked what did I do before? I was a brand ambassador, and then I can,
Mm-hmm.
lead back into coding if you ask me,
Yeah,
what.
no, I want to hear the whole journey. So it sounds like you wanted to be more intellectually stimulated. Can I ask what your major was in undergrad?
Yes, I was a theater major in undergrad, and I
Um,
completed my degree.
oh my gosh. Okay, so this makes so much sense. So like I first of all, I love that like you brought up acting, and Atlanta is 100% a hub. For those of you guys don't know, there's a lot of studios here. And I can see how that acting comes into like your social media content. So I finally got that connection click. But yeah, you, so continue. You got more, you wanted more intellectual stimulation, you got into coding, and then you liked it. Let's go.
Yeah, so I like to call myself like a giant simp. Like I simp so hard that I've done pretty amazing feats. And one of them was getting into coding. Like I remember when I was 21, I actually won a pageant because I wanted my boyfriend to love me. It didn't work out, but I still got a title, and that was pretty cool to wear a crown for a year. And so I was dating this guy back in 2017. Um, and he was saying like arts majors are so dumb and this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, well, what is not dumb then? And he's like, oh, my dad codes and stuff. So I was like trying to, I guess, impress him. And so I
Yeah.
started coding. I started like making small websites with just HTML and CSS and writing poetry about guys that I like. And um and then my sister's roommate at the time was like, Nin, if you really like coding, maybe you should do it for a career. Um, and I was like, oh, okay. And she told me like she also has non-traditional background. She studied nutrition in college, and she went through a boot camp and was able to learn how to code. And so I was like, oh, let me look up boot camps. I found the boot camp. Lo and behold, like I had 2 weeks until the boot camp was ready. They gave me like a whole bunch of pre-work or homework to do, which was so much fun. And that's pretty much how I guess I found my path into coding.
Amazing. That's such a great story. It reminds me of Legally Blonde, where Elle Woods goes to law school because she wants to follow her college sweetheart. So simping sometimes pays off. Okay, so graduating from boot camp, you got that $80,000 a year job, which is amazing. And now you're at Google. So what happened between like that first job outside of boot camp and where you are now at Google?
Yeah. So the first job I got was 3 months after the boot camp had started. I mean, 3 months after it ended. And that was at Home Depot. I worked at Home Depot for about 6 months, and a Google recruiter reached out to me in 2018. And I was just, like at the point I can remember the exact place I was when I talked to her. It was at the Cumberland Mall in Atlanta. I was sitting in my car, and I literally was just like, oh my gosh, I think I have a new dream. Like I've never had a dream like this before. And my dreams have always been to be on Broadway, to perform, to be an artist, to be an actor, to be on Disney. And so it was like it unlocked something new in me. And I was like, do I have a new dream of working at Google? Um, and I felt it. Like I was like so inspired after that conversation. And Erica, she's amazing. She's a Black Google or recruiter. Like she recruits for specifically like underrepresented groups. And um, so she gave me like the list of everything to learn, and it's a really long list, like data structures and algorithms, big O notation, things that people without computer science backgrounds may not know. Um, and so I started studying it. I started studying one of the coding languages, C++. Plus plus.
Hmm.
There's this really cool resource called My Code School on YouTube, and he does a C++ plus plus course for data structures and algorithms. And I just got overwhelmed and realized like I really need to learn on the job first. Like I'm learning so much at Home Depot. Maybe I need to give myself some time there before I dive into Google. And so I reached out to my recruiter and I was like, hey, can you give me like a couple of years? She was like,
Yeah.
sure. And then, 2020 happened. Everyone was at home. And I just realized that I was fed up with Home Depot. I had a terrible experience there. Like, I wasn't supported. And I was given like a lot of scrap work. And even though like I was given a lot of scrap work, I learned a lot. I had a really good like I had a really good black woman mentor. Like I remember like being at Home Depot and feeling so alone. And she had been studying, like her team had been doing something at this place called Pivotal Labs where they were learning to like write tests or something like that. When she came back, like she walked in the door and I like Harriet Tubman herself, like came to save me. And her name is Harriet. So like she really made my experience at that job way better. So we studied together. In 2020, I decided to reach out to my Google recruiter and I was like, I'm ready to do the Google interview if you just give me a couple of months to study. I studied a total of 7 months. Me
Wow.
and Harriet, we would do lead code problems together. We would like really like hold each other accountable. And I ended up also, I was having a lot of struggles at the time because of COVID. I have severe obsessive compulsive disorder, and I've always had obsessive compulsive disorder ever since I was like, I don't know, like a little kid. Ever since I can remember, I've had OCD, but the pandemic really made it come out. Like I just
Yeah.
spiraled so hard because I was so scared of getting COVID. And so I was washing my hands like every 15 minutes. I was waking up out of the night to wash my hands every 30 minutes. I took 2 showers a day. I would wash my sheets every day. Um, and one thing that I was really afraid of is not being able to understand the Google question, like at the Google interview, because of all the things going on in my head, like the compulsive thoughts, like you're not good enough, there's no way you can understand this, you can't do
Mm-hmm.
this. And um, my OCD therapist really helped me. She taught me a few concepts before I went into the Google interview, like power poses, to like stand like Superman,
Yes.
and like and you say good things about yourself. And then she also was like, listen to a song before you go in. And I listened to this song Latch by Sam Smith and Dispatch, and that just made me feel so excited. I like was laughing by the time I went into my Google interview. and um and then I was able to actually focus because of all of the work I had done in my OCD therapy. And I guess that's how I got to Google.
Amazing. Like, what an amazing story. I'm going to call out a few things. So, one, you talked about like needing to, you have these, what I call limiting beliefs in your head that are saying like I'm not good enough, and that's really hard if it like it seems like we can't stop them. And it sounds like the woman that you're working with gave you some techniques to like break that limiting belief or thought cycle, which is amazing. And you studied for 7 months. I've heard my engineer friends talk about lead code. Like, it's incredibly challenging to get past the technical interview at Google. Like, I can't reiterate this anymore. Like, this is a huge accomplishment. So congrats to you. So I wanted to talk. So it makes sense. Like, you had these Broadway dreams and now you have this Google dreams. And my next question was going to be, what made you decide to pursue entrepreneurship in addition to your 9 to 5 as a software engineer at Google? Was it a way
You
to
mean
like
content?
incorporate
You mean content creation?
what is the distinction for you, content creation versus entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship to me is like um, entrepreneurship to me is like getting into business and wanting to make capital off of whatever you're doing, whether it's a service or a product or good you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with content creation, I don't view myself as an entrepreneur. I don't want like I'm not aiming on making money. I'm
Mm-hmm.
aiming on making art and making community and making connections. So the biggest thing for me is to form a community with other people who love to dress up, who love anime, who are Black women, who are Black, non-binary folks. And so I think entrepreneurship, I think, is driven by capital,
Mm.
but what I want to do is driven by my need for a community.
I love that, and that's something that I can resonate with so much. Like, this is 100% your interview. But my entrepreneurship was always like, I created communities, and people would always say, like, you should charge for this, you should monetize this. And I'm like, no, that's not the point. Like, the payoff is the community, including addition. Like, I've gotten one sponsorship, but like, this is truly like a art on some level for me. So I will change this now to being a creator. Or is it content creator specifically, or creator?
I would say content creator.
Okay. So I'm curious, like, as a software engineer, do you find it challenging to find community? Like, what are some of the challenges that you've had that made you say, you know what, I'm going to create content to find my people?
Yeah, I mean, um, software engineering, the field of software engineering has been, the culture has been created by white men. White men have created this culture where, people are highly competitive, sometimes maybe not very social, and definitely a very exclusionary culture where if you are not a white man, you don't necessarily fit in. And so going into the space of like being a software engineer hasn't always been welcome for me because of, my identity. And so, you ask what made me look for a community outside of software engineering. I never was really looking for a community within software engineering. Like
Yeah.
I have found some communities, like for instance, Women Who Code has been a really safe and amazing community for me. Um, I don't think I don't think they exist anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Um, but I've always sought out community in other artists, and I found that community is what allows to do so much and be, you know, so successful. Without like members of a community, I don't think I would be as far as I am or even value where I am the way I do. Like I remember back when I was little, I used to do community theater, and I would be so comfortable there that I would like lay out in the lobby and on one of the couches and just go to sleep because I felt safe there because everyone in that community was very safe. Everyone on that community was very safe. Um, so because I felt so safe there, I was able to, like just take a nap if I wanted to. And also like creating something to achieve a goal with a group of people is a really beautiful process, especially like putting on a theater production. So, um, I had not had that community for years after graduating college, or even before graduating college. It was like as soon as I got to college, I had lost that theater community that I really loved. And so now I feel like being able to be create content, cosplay content in particular, I'm able to find other people who really like to do the same thing as me and have the same goals as me and are supportive of what I do. And then I get to support them. And I've done like a few events this year. I've done a maid cafe for Valentine's Day. And then also I cosplayed at a conference. Um, it was called PuchiCon in New Jersey. And I was like one of the special guests. And I'm going to do a Midnight Maid Cafe on October 25th, um, in Brooklyn. I believe it's in Brooklyn or it might be in Manhattan. But being able to just have fun and dress up is an amazing aspect of the community that I'm a part of. And so yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I'm for you. I feel like I'm always in cosplay. So I don't consider myself an anime girly because I haven't watched as much as the average. And your fans on TikTok, they were very upset. They thought we intentionally muted you. We did not. So it sounds like we can hear you now. And I will be uploading, or this will automatically be on YouTube. So whatever you missed will be there. Don't worry about it. So it sounds like your career is serving one purpose. Like your career as a software engineer is serving like your intellectual curiosity, and I'm sure obviously financial, and your content creation is to find your people, to find your business, or sorry, to find your people, to find your peers. Do you plan on always having both pieces, or do you ever think to potentially merge at some point?
Mer- can you clarify merge which things?
Yeah, like so you have your Google software engineer career on one side, you have your content creation for the purpose of building community with artists on the other side. Do you ever think about merging them in some way, like using your engineering skills, like as your job for community building, or figuring out a way with your events to, you know, take away the need for an engineering role, or do you always want to have those two in parallel?
Um, I just want to check. Can y'all hear me on TikTok? Um, so I would say I would never combine these two play spaces. I think that the community, the cosplay community, it exists. Like there's a lot of like um, you know, black women and non-men in that space. And as opposed to starkly contrasted with where I work at Google, there's not a lot of black women and non-men in that space. And
Yes,
so
that. Mhm.
I like to keep it separated because it we need a space that we could be safe in and where we can be ourselves in. And I don't think that going to work, I bring myself 100%. Like they say, bring yourself 100% to work. If they saw me at my 100% all the time, I don't know if I would continue being employed, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, I like to separate the two because I want to feel completely safe in my identity and the things I do to have fun. And, you know, but I oftentimes share with other people. Like sometimes on TikTok, I'll talk about my experiences at Google. And sometimes at Google, I'll share with my coworkers like my cosplays. So it's like, in a way, like I do, you know, cross pollinate, but I would never like ask a collab with one of my software engineering coworkers like, hey,
Yeah.
do a TikTok collab with me. um I like to compartmentalize those things, and I think it's for the safety of self-expression that they are compartmentalized.
Yes, I 100% respect that. I think um I can relate in the sense as being an artist, like when I try to merge business and art together, it doesn't feel as good. So I completely respect your decision to have like that separation there, but it's also cool that you feel comfortable sharing your, you know, your cosplay work with your coworkers. Okay. So my next question is, because you kind of touched on some challenges and triumphs, but before we get into that, I'd like to understand like what success means to you, and what are the accomplishments in your life that you're most proud of.
Yeah, I the word success to me is very like, I think, capitalist. It's very like focused on how productive you are, how much you're contributing to some wealthy person's paycheck. Um, and I would prefer for success to be around like how happy you are. And even if you're not happy, like how are you living in your values every single day, and how are you maintaining those values that you have? um, I think when you're able to live in your values, you are successful. um, for instance, one of my values is I really love my family and I love my friends. I really love throwing parties. On the other hand, my OCD makes me like have social anxiety and makes me not want to throw parties because I don't want my house to get contaminated with other people's germs. And
Hmm.
so when I decide to throw a party anyway, in spite of those anxieties, I'm living in my values and in my truth, and that's what's successful. Or or on the other hand, like I also struggle with depression, and my depression tells me to stay in bed and not do anything whatsoever and maybe sleep away the feelings. And so when I live in my values, one of my values is I really like to do art. So when I get out of bed and I still do art, like that is a successful day for me. And so I guess I shifted it from happiness, because you can't always control your emotions, but you can control your actions to some degree. And so when you live completely in your values, I think that that's success.
That's an excellent answer. Success is living completely within your values. So based on that definition, you mentioned like getting out of bed and doing art, but what would you say is like the accomplishments in your life that you're most proud of based on your definition of success?
Oh man, one of my accomplishments that I'm most proud of, um, I think, is when I recognized what my dreams, that I was living my dreams. Like I always thought that living your dream meant you made it to the destination.
Mm-hmm.
Like Broadway, for instance, is one of my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I never recognized that the journey is a part of the dream. So all of the community theater that I've ever done,
Mm-hmm.
all of the performances I've ever done, like television, voice acting, that is me living my dreams. So that moment for me, I think, kind of redefined success for me. But if I were to say like what my accomplishments were, um, my one of my like first accomplishments to me was when I won Miss Macon. I love that city. It's
Macon,
big too.
Georgia.
Macon, Georgia.
Yay.
I love that city, and I was able to like put on a after school program for the children, and we put on a play that I wrote with at the time my this artist named Reese Soul. He composed the music, I wrote the story and the lyrics, and then I directed it every day after school, and we put that production on at my college, and that was a really successful moment for me. But also I voice acted on this one like silly parody cartoon called Sonic's Funeral, and that got like over 70 million views
Oh my god.
on YouTube. Um, and I continue voice acting with him on some of his like what are they called? Personal um what is it called when it's private, like your original content. I voice acted with him on his original content, and that was just such an amazing experience for me. And and then I think after that, like with TikTok, I've gotten some like video views, like 4.5 million views on one of my cosplay videos, where I was cosplaying Peridot, and I feel really like excited about so many people seeing me. Like so many people heard my voice, and now so many people saw my face. And then finally, like I feel accomplished working at Google. And one of my biggest accomplishments at Google is my team. We would transfer users unstructured file system data into Google Cloud Storage. And it was taking 1.6 hours to transfer 1 million files for the thing that I worked on, and I got it to transfer 1 million files in under 5 minutes. So I was like really happy with that. I worked on that entire feature work end to end, from reading the product design to creating my own, um, like code design to implementing to launching it. So that's like a really proud moment for me, as a software engineer.
That's amazing. Like, first of all, I was like worried for a second you wouldn't say something related to being a software engineer at Google because that is such a huge accomplishment. But I do like where you put it. You put it last, like Miss Macon, and I mean that would be my biggest accomplishment, winning a pageant. And voice acting, so cool. I love that you're still able to pursue your acting, and I think a big takeaway is that it can't be all one thing. It, like, we need to have like multiple areas in our life that are bringing us joy and making us feel successful. It can't be just our job. um so okay, so now let's get into some of the challenges. So was ever a time that you doubted yourself or wanted to give up on pursuing your goals, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, like when it comes to content creation, um, I used to be really, really nervous and anxious about posting. Like I would like post something really like simple, like a picture of myself on Instagram, and then I would log off for like a whole week because I was so embarrassed. Like I was like, oh my gosh, what if people respond and what if they don't respond? And like I could feel like the heat of embarrassment in my ears. And so I was just like, I was just so, an anxious mess. But um my therapist, my OCD therapist, made me come to the conclusion that I should just post whatever, whenever, like every day. So in October 20, no, December 2021, I decided to post every day for a year. And I, that helped me overcome that fear and anxiety, especially when it was something bad. Like I would like make a video and I'd be like, this is terrible. And I would post it anyway. And even though I didn't make it to a full year, I stopped 9 months in on September 21st, 2022. I still, I gained so much confidence from overcoming like that anxiety. Um, the question was about like challenges, right?
Yeah, challenges or doubted yourself or wanted to give up on pursuing your goals.
Yeah.
And so I love that because so many people talk about wanting to be an influencer, wanting to be a creator, and they can't get past like just looking at the camera and hearing their voice and posting that, especially on Instagram. I don't know why that's like the hardest for some people. So it sounds like um, working with a therapist to encourage you to post every day, regardless, was huge for you. So I love that. So what about like you? I was my next question is about challenges, and you've brought up mental health a lot. You've brought up like OCD, depression. Like, can you talk more about like that journey and like how long it, like what time period of in your life you were battling and working through those issues, and how like where it is in terms of like pursuing your goals, like were you battling your mental health as well as making career steps and artist milestones? Like, love to hear more.
Yeah. I actually um experienced a lot of burnout at work because I was working like 80 hours a week because my job was expecting me to do L4 level work when I'm in L3, and I wasn't very supported. Um and so I was trying to complete the work in a timely manner, and the only way I could do that is working like 80 hours. Once I experienced that burnout, um I, at Google, there's a lot of solidarity meetings, and there's a lot of like meetings with like Black Googlers. And, even like Disability Alliance, they have a lot of like affinity meetings. And I had never heard of short-term disability before. Um, Everyone, like, you probably pay into short-term disability if you're a full-time worker. So if you ever do need to take a break, you should look into it. And I went on short-term disability, and when I started short-term disability, like, my brain just completely like was fried and turned off because I was so burnt out, and I just felt like I couldn't do anything at all. Like, all I could do was sleep. Um and like, that particular feeling lasted a very long time. I went on short-term disability in March of 2023, and I stayed on short-term disability until September of 2024. And I was really afraid of going back to work. Um, like, extremely afraid of Google. I remember when I started looking for work, like in summer of this year, I spoke to the team, or I heard that the team wanted me. And that day, instead of being excited that a team wanted me, I like sobbed because I was so scared to go back and have more bad experiences. And um and also, I just didn't think I can do it. Like, I couldn't even read without falling asleep. I couldn't even watch TV without falling asleep. I just felt like my mental capacity had completely shut off. And I didn't really believe in myself either. And I continue making like content. The only time I ever made content was really when my I call her my birthday twin. We we do a birthday cosplay every year because we were born on the same day on August 5th. And so we do like a buddies cosplay. And I just had to, like, this year I just had to push through. Like, I didn't have any fun doing it, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to be there for her. And also, I wanted to be there for myself, like, even through like the depression. But then one day I was talking to my mother, and she was like, my brother passed in 2015. And she was like, when Say It died, I thought I could never do anything ever again. Um, and then I went back into working in the school system, and there was this really cruel lady. There was this really cruel white lady who was cruel to the black children. And I looked at those boys, and they reminded me of Say It. People are saying hi. And I looked at those boys, and they reminded me of Say It. And I realized that I had to be there for them. And I also realized I have the capability. I could continue doing this work, and I'm capable. And her saying that to me really empowered me and made me realize, like, I can go back to work. I can be a software engineer. I am smart enough to be a software engineer. I have the capacity and the capability. And that was a huge challenge for me. And it wasn't just like an internal challenge about my intellectual like capabilities, but also just like a immense fear that I would go back into the space and be mistreated again. I know I didn't really explain what happened, like things that happened at, while I was working at Google, but I had some pretty bad experiences. And so I was really scared to return. And I think I overcame those challenges because, like, of what my mom said to me.
Um, and when you say what your mom said to you, are you referencing the story about Syed in school? Wow, what a powerful story. At like, and I mean, I can deeply relate to needing to gear, like, just being overwhelmed with the decision to walk into something that has been hurtful. Like, it's like, am I like deciding to be unhappy by walking back into the lion's den? Um, and you did. And you did. And I mean, that's just so amazing. Like, if you feel comfortable, can you talk at least about like what happened in terms of like you don't have to get into specific details, but just like what happened to your confidence, what happened to your self-esteem, what happened to like your thoughts about yourself as you started at Google before you went on leave, and the place you are now that you have returned.
Yeah. So before I went on leave, what was happening was there was a highly competitive person from my perspective who wanted to do my work and wanted his solution to be the solution. Um, and so
Question, was this a peer, a manager, a
a,
teammate?
this is a peer, a teammate.
Okay.
We were both working on the same project.
Okay.
And um, essentially, like, just to sum it up, he would have meetings and wouldn't invite me and wouldn't include me in these meetings. And, I read Google policy. You're not allowed to exclude people from meetings. That is a form of discrimination. Um, and my manager wasn't very supportive of me at the time. Like, he wasn't stopping him from not including me, even though he, said that he would. Um, and my brother-in-law passed away last year. Well, trigger warning. My brother-in-law was shot and killed by my sister-in-law. And so I went on bereavement leave for a week. And when I came back, he had a code change out to delete my code. And he was assigned my work. And I was just astounded because I was like, you didn't even tell me this was going to happen, that my work was reassigned. And I had to fight, like, literally. Like, there was this engineering director who was a black man that I met with, and he was like, Ninti, don't go in there and call people racist. What you're gonna have to do is be tactful. Write out a letter and explain in that letter why your solution should be the solution that they worked on. And so I had to justify my work, even though I had already had the design process on my team. People already accepted my design. My work had already been done. Like, I've been working on this for 2 years. So I had to fight for it. And I wrote out all the reasons. Like, here's the pros of my solution. Here's the cons of his solution.
Wow.
And my manager was like, I already knew all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, if you already knew, then why are you doing this? Either way, he was like, you have 2 weeks. If you don't complete it in 2 weeks, then we're going to go with his solution. Um, just to make it clear, so everyone knows, I didn't, like, we wanted, like, the deadline was like in March. So we wanted to meet that deadline. And that's why he gave me that 2 week, like, deadline. And also to make it clear, my solution was faster. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it would take 20 minutes to transfer 1 million files with his solution, whereas it would take 5 minutes to transfer 1 million files with my solution. My solution also scaled horizontally, which means that you can add more workers, which means 5 minutes wasn't the best performance. It could perform even better than that. But 20 minutes was the cap of performance for his solution. And not only that, my team had already accepted my solution. So, it wasn't about me being right or anything like that. I mean, I have a lot of pride in my work and I wanted my work to be completed. But it was the fact that I was being excluded from meetings, that literally my work was given to someone else, that he was going to delete code that I had already written. And so, um, what I felt like after those instances at work, and also another person had told a racist joke on my team. So I didn't only experience, like, you know, the exclusion, being excluded, but I also experienced like direct aggressive racism.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I felt afterwards was complicated. I was really happy that I finished my work. Like I was like, wow, I actually like launched it and I fixed and I made it go fast and I fought for myself and I didn't let this person steal my work. And um but on the other hand, like I also felt like I was really like slow. Like I wasn't good enough. Um I felt like I didn't belong. Um but you know what? Nothing could stop me from feeling like I really did that. Like I really like worked my butt off and I did some amazing work, like way above my level. Like I talked to other engineering managers and they were like, Ninti, you're doing L4, L5 work. Like you should be proud of yourself. So even though they wanted me to feel like I didn't belong and I wasn't good enough, I knew that I knew that it was their thoughts, like, and their thoughts were false. But that didn't stop me from feeling burnt out. And it didn't stop me from not being able to, like, I really couldn't read anything for months. I couldn't really watch TV. I didn't have any focus. Um, and where I am now is I'm really confident in myself and I know what this field is like. I know it's like quote unquote a dog eat dog world or whatever. It's competitive, and I know when I need to stand up for myself. So coming in now, first of all, I'm reporting everyone to HR. Like if you look at me the wrong way, I'm reporting you. I know HR might not do anything about it, but we're having a paper trail. Secondly, you're not gonna disrespect me. Like you're not gonna come at me sideways. I'm giving back the exact same energy that I receive. I'm not going to hold anything in. And also, I'm going to get accommodated. I have a disability, so I'm going to work part-time. Like I I know I'm capable, but I know I'm even more capable and even better when I'm able to work 30 hours instead of burning myself out at 40 hours a week. Um I don't know, I feel really strong. I feel really empowered and I feel like I'll walk into spaces and ensure that, you know, even if you don't think I belong, I know I belong here. Like, look, I passed that Google interview. I literally am qualified to be here. Google thinks I'm qualified to be here. They hired me. And let me tell you something my new manager said to me. He was really impressed with the work I did on that team when I told him about it. And he said, if you do what you did on that team, on our team, I would promote you. And that made me feel really validated.
Yes, that what an amazing story of triumph. Like I tell myself like I'm like when I speak to myself, I'm like no one is letting it no one is bullying you out of Google. Like I have to like that's a mantra like it's they're bullies and your story is that triumph because not only are you not getting bullied out, you're also capitalizing on your benefits, you're standing up for yourself, you're following the HR processes, and you're getting your accommodations. And so many people need to hear that message. So many people. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so the next question are I know we're 5 minutes over. Do you have time to run over a bit? Okay, all right. This has been an amazing conversation. Okay, so what are some pivotal moments or decisions that shaped your path for the better or for the worse?
It's actually my birthday o'clock. 8:05, August 5th. And I
yes.
always make a wish at my birthday o'clock, and those wishes come true. um, I'm
Do you
sorry.
want to
It's
make
so
a wish
different.
right now? Make a wish right now.
I made the wish.
Awesome. Yes.
I'm sorry. What was the question? Can you repeat it?
Yeah, it was like, what are some pivotal moments or decisions that have shaped your path to success, either for the better? Let's just focus on that part.
I think pivotal moments that changed my path for the better um, were all of the ones I stated, um, like for voice acting. When I looked up, there's this website called Newgrounds, and I worked with my pageant sister's husband. I know that's a little. She was actually my prince. You know what? That doesn't matter. Point is he was an audio engineer, and he helped me create a voice reel, a vocal reel, and I posted that reel online. And the guy who does the Sonic funeral reached out to me and was like really impressed with my work. We had no idea that it would blow up. Like he had like under 100 followers. He didn't have all those
Wow.
views. He created this Sonic's funeral, and it got like over like 60K, 77, not 60 million views. That was a very pivotal moment. I think a very pivotal moment was COVID itself, um, because COVID allotted a lot more time. Like the fact that people are able to work from home just gives you so much freedom. Not only freedom to really like think about what you want to do, but also just do your laundry. So because of that, I was allowed the time to prepare for Google. That was a pivotal moment for me. Um, and a pivotal moment like in recent times, and it doesn't seem that pivotal, but last week I was like sitting at my desk and I reached into the drawer and I opened the drawer, and in it was a gift that said Ninti on it. And one of my friends who also went on short-term disability leave gave me like a cute little care package. And one of the things in the care package was a sticker of a little black girl with afro puffs. And it said, use your voice. And I just sobbed. Like I cried so hard, like holding this in my hand. Like I was at my desk just sobbing, working from the office that day. And it just reminded me that every single time I experience something, I need to speak up. And I think it's pivotal because last time I silenced myself and I didn't speak up when things were happening. I just like kept experiencing it. But now I'm going to use my voice. And I think that's going to change a lot of my experience at Google. Like maybe I'll keep crying. Like I've cried already like 5 times since I've joined again. But the difference between me then and me now is I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to tell people, hey, that's not funny. You made me uncomfortable. You weren't being very respectful. And I think that's going to change a lot of, I think it's going to change a lot of social interactions and ensure that I'm treated the way that I deserve to be treated.
That's amazing. Like one of like my big mottos the past few months has been like about getting my voice back, because I too have felt silenced, and have been silent. Like literally, this podcast or this show is my voice, and I put that on pause a few weeks after, or a few months after I started at Google. So you having your voice back, being on the show, I mean, already like you're making an impact. You're using that voice, and I'm just so happy to witness it and celebrate and give it a platform and elevate it. So amazing. Okay, so then what would you say is like the biggest lesson that you've learned on your journey to success?
Yeah, I'd say my biggest lesson that I've learned on my journey to success is um to really like maintain your connections, like your community. Really like try to be a good friend or a good partner, because the people around you are what's going to keep you going. I remember asking my sister, like, how did our ancestors do it? Like, I asked this, like, after my, I said brother-in-law, but he was more like a play cousin. After he died, I just was like, this is definitely a result of systemic racism. I know, like, I can blame everything on racism. I know it wasn't like some racist who came and shot him, but like the fact that it even happened, I just felt like it's just a result of our years of oppression. And I was like, how did our ancestors do it? Like, I would have given up. I would have literally like trigger warning again. I would have killed myself if I was in that sort of situation. And my sister was like, community. That's how they did it. They maintained community. And every single day that I have a struggle, I can go to my community and they make me feel better. They make me feel safe. They make me feel heard. They make me feel seen. And I don't think there's anything more important in this world than the those connections that you have with your family, friends, and your community.
That's such a great lesson. Community, community, community. Um, Thank you for sharing that. So now I guess inspiration as we're winding down the interview, like who or what were some of your biggest inspirations along the way, whether it's mentors, books, podcasts? You mentioned a few mentors, but feel free to, share the whole list.
Yeah. So for content creation, I really love Afro Cocoa Puffs. Um her name is Naomi, and we're mutuals, even though she might not know we're mutuals. Like, I noticed that, you don't always know who you're mutuals with, like, because
Mm-hmm.
there's some people who are like, hey, Ninti, we're mutuals. And I'm like, I've never met you in my life. But she made the vocal, Hanada isn't black. Hanada isn't black. It's really popular in like cosplaying for black cosplayers. Will like
Hmm.
cosplay to that sound. So her currently someone who really inspires me is her name is Andrea Ricoena. She cosplayed recently Shell She um and Amethyst, and she's just really good at what she does. She really inspires me. Um and then uh your one Simp Queen, that's my birthday twin. And I remember when I only had 800 followers, she was my mutual, and she had 8,000 followers. And I remember telling her like, you're the Sasuke to my Naruto. Like, I want to like exceed you. Like, you inspire me to be better, because that's how Sasuke pushed Naruto. and and I feel like we've grown over the years together. And then like there's some other people, but those are like the biggest three I'd say. Um, Another thing that inspired me was my friend Harriet, the one that I told you about, who I studied with to get to Google. Um, she was just so smart. Like, I cannot tell you how intelligent this person is. Um, she literally works on this application that's self-sustained. It has it zero maintenance, zero on-call rotation. Like, it just works. And she used like this thing called the dependency resolution algorithm. um and the reason why that's special, like, it's not really special at Google, I guess, because everyone uses, complex algorithms. But at Home Depot, no one was using complex algorithms to solve problems. They were just using like really simple stuff. So her doing that, I was just like, wow, you're so cool. Like, she really inspires me still. She works at Netflix and she's making bank, and I'm still inspired by her. Um, yeah, I'd say those are my inspirations.
Amazing. I love those. I'm going to get the handles from the folks that you reference after so I can put them in the show notes. Okay, so I guess our final question, what advice would you give to others who aspire to achieve your success? And let's remind everyone of your success: software engineer at Google, um, influencer and content creator. You may not feel comfortable with that word, but you have grown a huge following. You are a successful voice actor, and in addition to Miss Macon. So, what advice would you give others to aspire to your similar success?
I would say post anyway, especially when you don't like it, post it. Like, post online. You take a picture and you're like, ugh, post that picture. Like, if you want to be a content creator, post daily, because if you post daily, it'll teach you exactly what you like to do, what other people respond well to, and it'll guide you in a way that will allow you to create your quote unquote niche. So post daily. If you're um, looking for advice in like software engineering, I would say like use your voice, stand up for yourself. Um,
Oh, sorry, one
um,
second. We lost you on TikTok, and your fans are want you back. It may be that little puzzle thing.
I don't know why it did that. Let me go.
I sent you an invite again.
Okay.
Yes. We're here, Jay Snow. Just give us a second. Ninti's rejoining. Oh no, lost connection. Try switching Wi-Fi.
I don't know why like it just signed off, and I need to plug in my. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. We're just live streaming here. Again, feel free to add questions in the chat as we are waiting. Okay, let's see if Ninti's here again. Okay, I'm inviting. Do 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 do. Yay, you're back. Yes, Ninti's back. I can't hear you.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now, and you're back on TikTok. Okay, so we were talking about advice. So you said post every day if you want to be a creator, and for software engineering.
Yes, I was saying use your voice. Like, um, I'm talking to people like me and software engineering. You definitely want to use your voice. But as for like software engineering advice in general, um, everyone can code. It's it's not as exclusive as they make it out to be. Um, you just have to put in the time and the effort and the practice, and it's really fun to do. So you should try it out. Those are like the only two advices I really have.
Oh, well, those are perfect. So, thank you so much for coming on the show, Ninti. This was an amazing and powerful conversation. Thank you for kicking off the Black Women Boss series on the show. We're so delighted and grateful to have you. Thank you for dipping into our community. Hopefully, you continue to stay in the Edition community. I have a last surprise question because I have a segment that I do every day or every episode, which is what I'm geeked out about this week. And it can just be like something fun that you saw in the news, or something, a new tool that you tried, or a new outfit that you picked out. Like, it could be anything, doesn't have to be serious. What are you geeked out about this week, Ninti?
Oh, I'm always geeked out about Naruto. I especially love Boruto. I love all of the like. I love all of the girls' designs. The adults, their designs suck, but I love like Sarda has like clearly is wearing like this like lip stain, and it's kind of like this Du Yun look. It's like more red on the inside and then like less as you go out, so it has like an ombre effect. It's really cute, and I really want to use like a lip stain. Um, I'm gonna try this like to achieve that like Sarda look. This NYX like puff powder, and then like the NYX fat oil. I'm gonna do that like after this and see what it looks like. So I'm really geeked out about like just Boruto in general. I love anime.
Amazing. On brand, as we would say in marketing. Any final words that you want to plug? I'm going to put all the links to Ninti's website, socials in the show notes, but anything else you want to plug to the audience before we sign off?
I just think that it's important for you to find your community, and really find what your dream is and live it. And living your dream does not mean reaching the destination. It means taking the steps to get there. So whatever your dream is, if your dream is to be like a pop star, just creating music, like writing music in your house, listening to YouTube beats, writing lyrics, singing those lyrics, you are living your dream when you sing, when you allow your voice to be heard, when you sing in front of your family, doing karaoke. Dreams are abundant. They're not scarce. Willow Smith isn't the only one who gets to live her dreams. Like every single person in the world gets to live their dream. You just go on the journey.
Yes, I love that so much. Question from TikTok, what is the highlight? And then I promise we're going to wrap up. What are you using as your highlighter right now?
Highlighter on my nose. Oh, yes, there's. Give me a second. This, unfortunately, where is it? Y'all know that TikTok sound that's like, mother, where is it? That always in my head whenever I look for something. I literally just had it. I got it from a beauty supply store.
Ooh, beauty supply makeup is such like or underrated.
It's so underrated and also so hard to find. But it's called NK Makeup Perfection. It's like a white highlighter. And the beauty supply, chef's kiss.
Love the beauty supply. Thanks again for your amazing words, Ninti. You're the best. We're going to continue with the series next week. Thanks again for coming, and I hope you have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.